went to the store where we were registered without, what do you call it, rations. And I said to Mr. Johnper, Mr. Johnper, my daughter has not been well, and she hasn't had anything to eat for some 6-7 days. And this morning, she said that maybe she'd like a banana. Mr. Johnper, could you sell me a banana now on next month's ration? And he said to me, that's what they all say. And I was absolutely devastated. I was devastated. I couldn't believe it. And I couldn't go back into the house to tell him to come without a banana. But mostly, I was so upset emotionally that he would do this to me. And I remember I walked around the block and cried and had to wait until my eyes dried before I could go back in the house. And then later, a friend got a banana for me from her store. So the next morning, at 7 o'clock in the morning, my doorbell rings, and it's Mr. John Kurtz. And he said, I just heard of what has happened in your household. And he says, I didn't sleep all night. And I said, you deserve not to sleep, and you deserve not to sleep tonight either. And I closed the door on him. And that was a horrible, horrible experience. And at that time, especially because Israelis were so spiritual and so helpful, so everybody was interested in the spiritual well-being of the country, you know. And this man does that to me. Anyhow, this was also one of the experiences, but Davida recovered enough so that we could bring the physical therapist in, and every day she came and she had to teach Davida to walk again. Davida didn't know how to put one foot in front of the other. She really had to start from scratch to use her muscles again. But she had a fine recovery. And when we came back to the States, I took her to a doctor in Minneapolis, and I said to him, Davida had polio 2 years ago, and see if you can tell, after you examine her, where she had the polio, where it struck her. And he examined her thoroughly, and he said, I can't see anything. And I said, then I'll give you a hint. It was in a leg. Can you tell me which leg? And he examined her, and he couldn't tell which leg. And then finally he took a tape measure, and it was just a fraction. It was so much that he couldn't see it without the tape measure. So it was a total recovery from that. And so anyhow, that was the.
Would you like to show us the picture of what she looks like today?
This is taken just a year ago.
And just hold it up, and I'll zoom in on
with
it.
Her mom. We look alike, I think, in that picture, don't
Yes,
we?
you do. And you look so happy.
Sure.
Okay.
Got her?
Mm-hmm.
What an experience to have on top of everything else now.
That's right. That's right.